And Bonds hits one high. It's a deep. It is out of here. 7:56. Bonds stands alone.
17 seconds from Game 7 or from championship number 6. Jordan open. Chicago with the lead.
Washington outside left. Roethlisberger has time. Throws to the back of the end zone, and it is off for a touchdown by Holmes.
Minute remaining. And they're putting Curry in the pick and roll, trying to get him on Ervin. Ervin and Curry, one-on-one. Ervin puts it up. It's good. Kyrie Irving from downtown.
We're sending it in, Jerome. That's for damn sure.
Yes. What is up, everybody? Welcome to Taproom Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Jordan. Stacks on Stacks on Stacks. Let's join with my man, Ervin and Washington, in the Dodgers shirt. Congratulations to the Dodgers winning the NL West for the fucking 30th year in a row.
It was expected. Now we got to win in October. Let's get it.
Yeah, Ben and I talked about it last night. I was like, man, the Dodgers are one of the best regular season teams, but they got to do it in October when it matters, dude.
Well, we did it 2 years ago. We just got to do it again. And I don't want to hear shit about a pandemic. And
it was different, though. It was a different year.
It was more pressure, too, because that was irregular. You're not at home. You're on the road. You're not with your family.
You could make cases both ways. What I will say is that it was just different. You know, it was a different time, and you could say it was more difficult, which you could definitely make a case for. You could also say it's a Mickey Mouse ring, which I don't agree with, but
yeah, that only comes in a discussion when it's the Dodgers and the Lakers, though, because if any other team won it, their team would have been celebrating like it was 1999. So it's cool. It comes with the territory.
And both those teams, if they didn't win, then everyone would be saying, "Oh, they couldn't even win during this." You know what I mean? So it is.
It's part of being in LA. I'm used to it. You know, I love the haters.
Yep. No, it's
And your franchise ain't been shit for more half your existence. It gets like that.
Who?
Huh?
Who?
Just period. Angels fans.
Well, I mean, the Angels haven't been good except for like 1 year.
Yeah, I'm saying. It's like you get LA teams get the most hate from like the most random fans. Like all my teams, even like USC. Like I've never gave a damn about the Oregon Ducks, but for some reason they fans just got a super duper hard on for SC. Now they think they back to being the contenders and a bowl team because they beat up on a BYU team.
Well, they'll make a bowl. They'll make a bowl.
Yeah, they'll make a bowl, but they're not contenders.
They got a big game on Saturday, which we're going to talk about on Wednesday. Oregon at Washington State, which I think is going to be a phenomenal game. Washington State, remember I said they were going to cover against Wisconsin. I said I wouldn't be shocked if they won that game either.
Yeah, Washington State surprised me. Their defense look a lot better than I thought it would be too. So We'll see. I like that game now because people think Bo Nix is a Heisman candidate now. So shout out to them.
No. We ain't not going there.
That is one big pile of shit.
We not going there. But so if y'all want to hear us break down college football games, join us on Wednesdays, 9:15 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 12 Eastern. However, the podcast will be out like 3 a.m. Eastern, 12 a.m. Pacific, so you can tune into that. This week we have games on Thursday, too, and we got Friday games, and we got Saturday games. So we'll probably talk about one Thursday game, and then we'll do our usual 6-7 games that we kind of like. That are of importance per se. But before we get to college football, we're gonna recap some games on Saturday. But let's talk about these Monday night games first that just occurred. And the first one was, hold on, before we get to that, I do have to mention we are being brought to you by Tavour. Make sure you go to Tavour.com or download the Tavour app straight to your mobile device. Use promo code TAPROOM for $10 off your first purchase of $25 or more. That's craft beer delivered straight to your front door. It's that easy. So let's talk about these Monday night games, Irv. And before we actually talk about the games, ESPN did such a disservice to these games, dude. How do you have two games on Monday and they like overlap each other?
Yeah, that's terrible. You should schedule one earlier in the day, especially the one now, because they're both on East Coast time. So one should have been scheduled.
Why don't you have a West Coast game?
Yeah, that's true too, because they both on East Coast and they basically lapped them on top of each other. So you was trying to keep track of two games at the same time. But one of them got pretty ugly. The other one got ugly late. But yeah, yeah, they got to do
Both
better
were
with
pretty trash.
yeah, if you're gonna have two games, at least put one in a different time zone so you can actually watch one game and then watch the next game like they do on Thanksgiving.
Yep.
You don't see those games overlapping.
Yep. No, I thought it was a total disservice to the casual viewer. And like when you know, anyone that's a diehard NFL fan was watching both games at the same time. But it's like the casual viewers that you're like trying to get their attention because that's the majority of the people. You know what I mean? So it's like I just thought it was hella stupid when I was watching the first game and the second game came on. I was like, what the fuck? Like, why? But let's talk about the first game: the Buffalo Bills versus the Tennessee Titans. This game was interesting because it was basically it opened -7.5, got bet up to 10 very quickly earlier in the week. And then literally right before kick, I saw some books go to 9, which usually tells you a lot of money is coming in on one side, right? That they drop a point
on the Titans.
But after watching that game and kind of rereading the market and stuff, I'm starting to think some of those books did that to entice people to be like, oh, money's coming in on the Titans. Like I might want to jump on that train. You know what I mean? A lot of people probably hopped on the Titans train. I leaned Bills -10 in this game. I didn't love it. I didn't make a play on this game. I did bet it live twice, 3 times. I bet the second half and I bet 2 live, and I lost both the live plays. I won the second half play. And I would have covered 33.5 had Malik Willis not fucking fumbled off his fucking tight end's back, dude. Fucking idiot.
Damn.
But anyways, this game, I mean, it was a shit show, dude. And I kind of mentioned it. They lose 41-7, so they lose by 34 points. The game was 7-7 in the first quarter. It was never close after that. It was
craziest thing after 2 weeks. It looks like the Jaguars are the best team in the AFC South. They should be 2-0. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, dude, sometimes coaching matters, dude.
Yeah, coaching always matters. Now you see Trevor Lawrence with a competent coach. The defense is much improved. They still make some mistakes, but it's not as much as last year. And that just made me it makes my take even more credible. What the fuck Urban Meyer was thinking going to the NFL, because he is not an NFL head coach.
At all. No, that was a shit show, dude. And especially looking back on it, it's even worse than what we originally thought it was at the time, right?
Exactly.
This game, let's talk about this Tennessee Bills game, because the Titans had 4 turnovers. They were pretty much all self-forced. They had 2 muff punts, which caused fumbles, and then Malik Willis fucking is running behind his tight end, and when he's going to cut, the ball fucking hits his tight end and fucking pops out. Those are unforced turnovers. Those are just bad. That's shitty teams. That's what happens to them, right?
Yeah, because even the interception, that was like a tip drill. So
the interception, the fucking defender's standing right in front of the receiver, and Ryan Tannehill throws it right at the defender.
Yeah, but even it went over his head too. The other guy picked it off.
Dude, Tannehill, he sucks, dude.
The Titans not looking good at all, bro.
At all, man.
And they look, without AJ Brown, that offense looks lost. They in shambles.
Well, I mean, they've always relied on the run, right? Like they have to establish the run for them to be good. That's why it's like if they play from behind, like that's a team that cannot play from behind, unless like last year the Bills versus Titans, when the Bills were winning that game by like 20 points and the Titans came back and won, and Derrick Henry went off for like 182 yards. I mean, he broke 2 big ass runs in that game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, didn't he like 3 touchdowns, 4 touchdowns, some shit like that?
2 of them were like 60-yard runs. But if that doesn't happen, you're wasting a lot of time on the clock if you're continuously running the football. Yeah. So a team like that, and that's always been my concern about the Eagles too, is that, I don't know if they can play from behind like that. But however, the Titans were behind very early, and I mean, this was over. This game was over before halftime. Are you more high on the Buffalo Bills? Like, I know both of us, like, we both consider probably the Bills the best team in football already. Are you higher on the Bills or are you, like, lower on the Titans?
No, I'm higher on the Bills because at the end of the day, the Titans has been in the playoffs the last 2-3 years. They've been to an AFC Championship. That team is no pushover. They're physical. They got dudes up front. They got most people say is top 2, top 3 running back in the NFL. Some people have Derrick Henry as their best running back in the NFL.
Not anymore.
Yeah, not anymore, but I'm just saying the last couple of years. So
Yeah.
looking at it like that, you can't just discount the Bills beating a team like that 41-7. They're proving that it's them, probably KC, and everybody else in the AFC. We thought it was going to be more wide open, but it's looking like it's a 2-team race right now. Even though it's early, but those are the 2 teams that impressed the most so far in the AFC and shit, pretty much the whole league, because outside of no NFC team has really looked that great. We know the NFC is wide open. We know that's going to come down to whoever makes the most plays. But as far as the AFC, it's looking like the 2 best teams are in the AFC right now.
Well, one thing I will say is that my Cardinals are back alive, baby.
Oh, yeah. Cardiac kids, right?
No. That was Kyler had to work some magic for that shit to happen.
Yeah,
Dude.
I honestly think Kingsbury got to go. The GM got to go. I think if they bring in a better head coach, damn, imagine Kyler Murray being coached by Sean Payton, somebody like that. So we'll see. We'll see how the Cardinals shake it out. But we both know that regime is coming to an end. And Vance Joseph, that dude definitely got to get fired.
Yeah, because he doesn't even play Isaiah Simmons. The second Isaiah Simmons comes in the game, the defense fucking shuts down. Like, dude, what are we doing? I've been saying this for fucking 2 years, dude. What the fuck are we doing? How do you draft Zaven Collins, who most people said was the best defensive player in his draft? And in that draft was Micah Parsons as well. And he doesn't even play him. Now he's getting time. But,
Yeah.
dude, I don't know. But I do agree with you that I do think that the AFC, and it's funny because, you know, a lot of people were like shitting on the Chiefs and not shitting on them, but like down on them. Like, it's like,
Yeah, you got to be down on
them.
them. They lost an all-pro wide receiver, but like I said, it was addition by subtraction because you got to realize they got the best fucking QB on the planet, and it's going to make him open his eyes up more and more targets. Kelsey is going to be his number 1 target, but as far as wide receivers go, Hardman could kill you. Sky Moore is going to come along because we know his talent level. We know what he's capable of. Scantlin is still a deep threat, so you got to pay attention to him. This just makes Mahomes more diverse as a pass.
The only thing I'll give you pushback on the KC thing, though, is that the Chargers were definitely in control of that entire game.
Yeah, but the Chargers are much improved, too. Now, they just got to learn how to finish, so I'm not going to.
Well, I mean, that game was funky, though.
You got to keep it real. The Chargers did get screwed out of 2 interceptions.
I was just about to say, dude, they probably should have 3 interceptions, dude.
Yeah. Well, one of them I could see it was ticky-tack, but 2 of those were definitely interceptions. So they kind of did get screwed out. If I had to choose a 3rd best team in the AFC, it would probably be the Chargers.
But we don't know about Herbert now, dude.
Well, they said his ribs, they said cartilage, so he might be able to play through the pain. But honestly, I don't know. Chase Daniels is their backup. So it depends. Honestly, it depends on who they playing and his pain tolerance.
Yeah,
so if it's like a big game, I'm pretty sure he's gonna gut it out and shit. He didn't look like his arm ain't hurt. So long as he can sling it, as long as he can use that.
Well, the funny thing is the throw before he threw that dime on that touchdown, he like went to go throw it out of bounds and like he like couldn't even throw it, dude. I was like, damn, this is bad. And I've fractured 3 ribs before, dude. And that is like the most painful injury I've ever had in my life, dude.
Like your boy Post Malone just fell at the concert and cracked 3 of his ribs.
How the fuck you do that?
I don't know.
Why are you saying my boy, dude? I don't even I know like one Post Malone song, dude.
Nah, I actually like Post Malone. So that my boy Post Malone fell and cracked his ribs.
How? Just fell?
I don't know. I just seen a video. He was walking out on stage. He was starting the concert.
He was hella drunk, probably.
No, he fell on stage. I guess he made a wrong step, and then he just fell. Boom! And he must have hit something that was on stage, and it cracked 3 of his ribs.
I did a skateboard, and that shit was not fun, dude.
Yeah, I'm not a skateboarder. I learned my lesson early.
Well, I learned it after that, dude. My skateboarding life was never the same. But anyways, back to football here. I think the Chargers are as close. Like, I honestly thought the Chargers looked better than the Chiefs did in that game. I thought the Chargers defense, like with Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa on each edge, it changes a lot because as a defense, like they didn't have to, scheme blitzes to get pressure, and you don't ever want to blitz Mahomes, right? When you blitz Mahomes, you're basically giving him a wide open throw, and he's one of the best quarterbacks in the history of this game against the blitz. So
I think its completion percentage is like 70% against the blitz or some shit
yep.
like that.
So when you can blitz him with 4 down linemen or even 3 at times, it changes the whole aspect of the game. That's what the Tampa Bay Bucks did when he had like 4 hurt offensive linemen, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is like Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa can like beat pretty much every offensive line. Like, I don't care who the fuck you put against them. They're gonna.
Yeah, you seen what they did against the Raiders. You seen what they did against the Chiefs. So Mac and honestly Von Miller are showing they had plenty left in the tank. It's just
Mac's pretty young.
No, Mac he was drafted in 2014 or 2015.
Yeah, I mean, I would put him at like what?
I think in his 30s. Remember, he was having injury problems, so a lot of people thought he wasn't going to be the same player, but clearly he's still Khalil Mack, and he's next to another All-Pro and Joey Bosa. So, and J.C. Jackson looked pretty good too his first game back. Yeah, he's 31.
Kenneth Murray looks good. I love Kenneth Murray, dude. I think he was probably the best linebacker inside off-ball linebacker in his class. And if you need to, you can put him on the edge. Not that they do, not that they have to, but yeah, the Chargers look good too. So the AFC is definitely looking like it's gonna be a dog-eat-dog world, and the best. Then you're gonna have to play at a high level, definitely, to even be in a conversation for the playoffs. Now, there's a couple teams on the fringe that we thought was going to be playoff contenders, and they got to get their shit together. Even my Broncos at 1-1. We should be 2-0. Shit, we got lucky. We should be 0-2. But the Bengals and the Raiders definitely got to get their shit together ASAP. So I want to ask you about that because I was going to lead to that eventually. Is the Broncos, because I know you're a Broncos fan. I'm watching that game on Sunday, and I'm like, man. And what did I tell you in the offseason?
No, Russ played horrible, but honestly, you got to factor in he did have I'll say 4 drops. That definitely made it look that 3 for 11 made that 3 for 11 look a lot worse. But he didn't play well. He played well when he needed to, which was in the fourth quarter, so I'll give him credit for that. But us being down 3 of our top 4 receivers ain't helping at all. But he definitely has to make it do what it do because he's getting paid top dollar. He was brought in to change the franchise, so he definitely has to play better. Good thing he gutted out a tough win. They found a way to win that game.
Well, my biggest question is, dude, you have Javonte Williams. He's averaging over 5 yards a carry. Why is he only getting 15 carries in the game, dude?
Because they feel like they need to split carries with Javonte and Melvin Gordon. But honestly, I've always felt like Javonte should be the lead back. Instead of 60-40, 50-50, it should be 70-30, 75-25 Javonte's way. When Denver figures that out, maybe that offense will be a lot better. And on top of that, he's a super threat out of the backfield.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, dude. I'm watching the game and dude, I'm just like, what? Russ is struggling. You could see it. And Javonte Williams is averaging 7 yards a carry at the time. Like, they weren't running the ball. Dude, what are we doing?
So Paul Hackett definitely has to figure this shit out. His play calling has been spotty at best. Then on top of that, the urgency on the delay of games and then losing a timeout because you don't know whether you want to kick the fucking field goal or go for 4th downs. That shit got to stop, bro. You got to have a specific game plan, down and distance, field position, and know what you're going to do. All that back and forth and waiting. First of all, that deflates your momentum because you don't know what the fuck you want to do, so you don't seem confident. So how the team going to be confident if you're not confident in the plays that you call in or the decisions that you want to make? So I expected some growing pains, but I didn't expect it to look like this. So it got to get better ASAP.
He needs to hire an analytical guy like me.
He has one.
I know every team does now. Dude, there's a firm that literally breaks down every game scenario for you analytically, the mathematics, the percentages. and it makes your job easier. And coaches still refuse, and they go off their instincts, and they go off their game management, their methodology that is old school. And like, dude, it's 2022 now, bro. Like, we have 100+ years of NFL data to go to sort through. And obviously the game has changed, dude. But we know, based on data, all these percentages, dude, of like the right things to do in certain situations. And these coaches like still refuse to do it. Now, Brandon Staley, he's like the outlier because he was very analytical last year, almost overly
Too
analytical.
Now he's completely abandoned it.
Yeah, now it's like, dude, he's like 4th and 1 on the opponent's like 47-yard line, and he's like punting it. It's like, that's when you should go for it. You have a 62% chance of converting that 4th down.
But I think he got a call, or somebody must have put it in his ear over the offseason that the way he was calling plays and managing the game was going to get his ass fired.
No,
so
he realized that, because that was going to fire. Like, when you're going forward on 4th down in your own territory and set in the second quarter, dude, that's stupid.
Yeah, he did that twice against the Raiders last year, that last game, and that shit was terrible.
And he did against the Ravens, and they were down like 21-0 in like the first quarter because of it. I mean, it was like atrocious. Like, that's the kind of shit that gets you fired, though.
Yeah, but he has gotten better, so I'll give him credit. He just has to.
He's overcorrected though, Irv.
Yeah, I know. He just needs to play within his system. He has a Super Bowl capable team, so he just has to coach it the right way,
and that's why he's on a hot seat, because there's a guy, Sean Payton, that is in the waiting, and you tell Sean Payton, hey, you want to come coach Justin Herbert and the Chargers? Like, any coach is going to take that, because every coach that gets fired, they get fired because they don't have a coach, they don't have a quarterback. When they take a new job, like a Robert Salah, for example, or
shit, look at all those Browns coaches that got fired.
Yeah, you don't have a quarterback, you can't win in the NFL, dude. It's very difficult. Very difficult. And so this Chargers job, I think, is, if Brandon Staley gets fired, which he very well could if they don't make the playoffs.
Yeah, it's going to be the number 1 job in the league.
Yep. And then the Cardinals, too. Another good job.
Yeah,
although I'd say the Chargers have a better roster.
Yeah, Chargers got a better roster, but you got a franchise QB in Kyler, so that's always a good building block.
Yep. And they got a lot of nice young pieces too in Arizona. They just have dog shit coaching, man. All right, let's move on to the second game, the Eagles versus the Vikings. This was an interesting game. Close 2.5. Eagles -2.5 at home. End up covering. The under hits 49.5. There was 0 points scored in the second half, dude.
Yeah, I didn't really watch the second half like that. I mostly watched the first half, but I was getting.
Well, you didn't miss anything, dude.
Yeah, I was getting updates on my phones of interceptions and incompletions. That's about it. I know.
Yeah, it was ugly, dude.
Hurts threw 1, and I think Cousins threw 2. Right, 1 on the goal line.
Cousins threw 3 interceptions in the
second half.
In the game, he threw 2 on in Eagles territory. He almost threw 3 too at the end. He was 2 for 11 when being blitzed today with 2 interceptions. So he had as many interceptions as he had completions while being blitzed.
Ooh, that doesn't bode well.
Does not bode well at all. Did this game tell you anything about either of these teams? Because I know you have been very high on the Vikings, and I warned you about taking the Vikings this week, and you told me you said
yeah, it doesn't really make me be low on the Vikings. It just shows me that Kurt Warner really, I don't know what it is, but dude is terrible in prime time. Like, if he can get that monkey off his back, then the sky's the limit for the Vikings. But if he continues to play like this in prime time, they're not going to beat anybody. They could probably win their division, but they'll be one and done in the playoffs. I like Kevin O'Connell. He's proven that he was the right coaching hire. He calls good plays. He hired a good defensive coordinator. The Vikings just got to stay healthy for the most part too. Yep. So I'm not going to overreact. The Eagles just played a damn good game. Jalen Hurts played a good game outside of that interception. He looked at like a fucking right-handed Michael Vick tonight, most people were saying. So I like the Eagles. They should win their division. The only thing stopping them is Dallas did pull off a pretty good win versus the Bengals. So Their defense looks much improved. It just can they hold up without Dak? So, but Eagles are the team to beat in the NFC East for sure.
Yep.
Because the Giants they 2-0, but that's a fraud ass 2-0, and the Redskins or the Commanders, you can pretty much pack them up because they should be 0-2 right now. So Eagles look good.
The thing about the Commanders though is that Carson Wentz hasn't looked bad.
Yeah, he hasn't looked bad. He can put up points. It's
Usually when Carson Wentz is good though, his team wins. You know what I mean?
But their defense is just not good, bro. And they have all that talent.
Talent, dude. And Jack Del Rio still has a job.
They have like 4 or 5 first-round picks on the D line. Even though Chase Young isn't playing, they got more than enough talent. They should be 2-0. But they lucked out against the Jaguars, and they just completely that game wasn't competitive for most of that game until the second half when the Lions started making mistakes.
It was like all garbage time.
Yeah,
scores. Yeah, no, that I agree with you that the Eagles are the team to beat. However, my questions about Jalen Hurts still remain the same, dude. Like,
you want to see him play from behind, not always play with a lead. This is
in the second half too, like
about Lamar.
In the second half though, too, where like the Vikings were shutting down the run and like forcing Jalen Hurts to make plays, and he didn't. They didn't get many first downs. They did get into Vikings territory one time. They had a field goal blocked, but other than that, he had an interception, and he wasn't as good as he was in the first half. They kind of adapted to it, and that worries me. Is there film now for other teams to see how the Vikings shut them down in the second half?
That could be a bad thing because, like you saw the film of the Broncos shutting down the Seahawks in the second half, and they couldn't do jack shit the next game against
the whole game, dude.
But I don't know. Hurts is a I don't know. I just like him as a player, man. I think he's
a dog, dude.
Yeah, he has what it takes to win you a division. I don't know if he can win you a championship. That's gonna have to remain to be seen. But I like what he's doing. Hopefully, he keeps it up. But like you said, that second half, they probably should have been able to put some points on the board, not scoring any points and only getting into the opponent's territory once. Could be a little bit of cause for concern, but for overall, I'll give him an A for his performance tonight. I like what he did.
I'll give him a B. They should have blown the fucking Vikings out, dog. You get 3 turnovers.
But like you said, the other people on the team, the people on the other side of the ball get paid too. They got pride too, so they're not just gonna get their asses handed to them.
For sure,
clearly, we can see
sure.
There was no point scored in the second half, so that means the Vikings stepped up.
Absolutely, 100% agree. 100% agree.
Well, the Vikings defense, not their offense.
Yeah, no, there was a lot of drops too by the wide receivers. Like, I'm not gonna put it all on Kirk Cousins, but he also did have like a couple very terrible interceptions, dude. Which is like, what are you even throwing the ball to at that point? And those are never good. All right, let's move over to some college football recaps.
All right, let's get it.
So let's start with the Sooners versus the Nebraska Cornhuskers. So obviously the Huskers, they fire Scott Frost. 70% ATS teams are coming off a game where their head coach gets fired. Mickey Joseph, Vance Joseph's little brother, takes over head coaching duties for Nebraska.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, dude, he might as well pack his bags too. He's
not going to get that coaching job. If he could make them respectable, win a couple games, a new coach might look at him as an assistant or maybe even keep him as a defensive coordinator. But honestly, bro, they worse off than what USC was. This program is in shambles, and I don't even know if they can. Only guy they could hire that could right the ship right away, which I don't know why all these rumors are swirling around Urban Meyer, but Urban Meyer is not coming back to college no time soon. A lot of people don't know this, but he doesn't like the NIL. He doesn't like this player empowerment movement. He don't like the players get to transfer whenever they want to now and not have to sit out. He's one of those old school coaches, and he's not going to change. So unless college football goes back to where it was before he went to the NFL, then you can start worrying about Urban Meyer being on anybody's sideline. But for the most part, he's going to sit there and collect his millions from being an analyst for Fox. He's not coming back to college football no time soon. But there's other coaches out there that they can hire that'll be a good coaching hire. But if y'all thinking or you got any shot at Urban Meyer Cornhusker fans, you got a better shot at plowing down your cornfield. It's not happening. Okay, just stick to reality, big dogs.
The funny thing is that like, was it? I don't know if it was you I was talking to, or I was talking to somebody about this, but we're talking about Nebraska as like a program. I think it was you and I that were talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
And you were saying like this is they're like they're like a historic brand, and like wow, yes, that's true. It's a much more difficult school to build around because of where they're at and the
It's
conference
not
they
a
play in.
great location, but it's not the worst location because Norman, Oklahoma ain't that much further away, and people think Oklahoma is a title contender. Now, the reason why they think that is because Oklahoma has hired damn good coaches and be able to amass good talent because they recruit Texas pretty damn good.
Yep.
Now, if Nebraska could hire the right coach, then they can compete. You see the Big Ten. The Big Ten is pretty much dog shit outside of like 3 or 4 teams. If they can hire the right coach and develop the players that they need to develop, they can have a say in the Big Ten. And they just need to hire the right coach. This coaching hire is probably going to be the most important coaching hire ever in the history of Nebraska. Just like USC's last coaching hire was the most important coaching hire USC was going to make.
Well, I think the big difference, though, Irv, is, and you bring up USC, is like you're getting USC and UCLA in your conference, and those are two schools in the heartland of arguably the best recruiting territory in the country.
Yeah, but if you hire the right coach and they're in the Big Ten, you're in the Big Ten. The LA market is open to you now. Of course, you're not gonna get the best players year in and year out unless USC and UCLA are just complete dog shit. That's when you can come
We know
poach
one of those teams
quarterbacks and all
pretty
that.
much will be.
But even then, you still got to have stability. You still got to show that you're developing players, getting players to the NFL. You don't got to be like Alabama, who's developing players at an unknown rate, but you do have to develop players and show them that you're competing in the championship conversation. Now, if Nebraska could hire, or let's see who's going to be available. If they can hire.
Well, let me give you a name. Lance Leopold.
That'll be a great hire. Shit, Matt Campbell will be a great hire. It's not like Nebraska doesn't have boosters that got millions to blow. They fired the damn coach 2 weeks earlier and paid him an extra $8 million when they didn't have to. So,
bro, stupidity, dude.
Money is not a problem at Nebraska. It's just they need to hire the right guy. Now, can they poach a coach away from a school?
Dude, Lance Leopold, they could definitely poach.
Yeah, the coach like that, they could poach. Should they BYU coach need to start getting some more national?
He's not gonna
attention.
leave though, dude.
I know. He went to that school. He's a Cougar. Wait, what's their mascot?
Yeah, Cougar.
Hey, the Cougars, right? He's a Cougar through and through. So I don't think Sataki will leave unless you just give him 9-10 million a year. Then
I think he would only leave for like the right job at the right time, dude.
Yeah, I don't think he would leave. I don't think he would leave BYU, but that's just a good candidate that you could throw out there. There's gonna be other people getting fired. Shit, Marcus Freeman might be available if Notre Dame don't write the ship, but I highly doubt they fire him after 1 year.
I don't know if that's a good hire either. You know what I mean? Because like getting a guy off 1 year of head coaching experience, like I like Marcus Freeman, dude. I think he's a.
He kind of reminds me of Charlie Strong. I think what's happening at Notre Dame is an outlier. Brian Kelly left that QB room bare as hell, and he was dependent on transfers the last 3 or 4 years, and it shows. They wasn't developing nobody behind the starter, and luckily they didn't have an injury where the others had to come in.
They should have gone out and got Dylan Gabriel.
They tried, but he chose UCLA, then he got a call from who and went there. But it's talks that 5-star that got in 2024's what's his name's grandson might reclassify and join him. Might join him in 2023. Maybe that'll help, but yeah, they just got to get it together, man. They should have lost to Cal. Let's just
yeah. Well, let's talk about this Oklahoma game in Nebraska.
Yeah.
So Nebraska closes 11-point dogs, over under 65.5. The game goes under because Nebraska, the first 3 drives looked good, dude. They got a stop, they got a touchdown. They looked like they were going to be able to cover the spread, as I predicted. But Oklahoma just blew them out the fucking water, dude.
Yeah.
Now, I want to ask you the same question I asked you about like the Bills and stuff. Are you higher on Oklahoma or down or just much lower on Nebraska?
Nah, I'm just lower on Nebraska.
I agree.
Oklahoma's a good team, but we haven't seen them get tested. We haven't seen them play any team that's on their level. The 3 victories that they got, those 3 teams have a combined 3 wins?
Yeah, and like this like 60-yard touchdown run Dylan Gabriel had, like he broke like 8 tackles, dude.
Yeah, so we've been to Nebraska was bad when they lost week 0 against Northwestern. So and the tackling hasn't gotten any better. So I'm neutral on Oklahoma. They do look like a good team. They do look like they're a contender for the Big 12. But we also have to see them play a lot better teams. They're getting their first test of the season, honestly, this weekend versus Kansas State.
And to
So
be
we'll
honest,
know.
too, sorry, Dylan Gabriel wasn't even that good passing the ball. Like he was 16 of 27.
Yeah, that's nothing special.
So we definitely, you're in agreement. So we got to see more from Oklahoma.
Yeah, we got to see more. We got to actually see them play a team that's actually on their level and, talented enough to challenge them. They haven't been challenged at all this season.
Yep.
Like, same thing with Clemson. They're both ranked high off reputation and their coaching hires and them being undefeated, but they both get their first test of the season this weekend, and we're going to see if they pass it.
100% agree with you, dude. 100% agree. All right, let's move over to this next game. And I know this isn't a big game, but I want to talk about it real quick, and that's Ohio State versus Toledo. Toledo is one of the best teams in the MAC. I'll be completely honest. And when I saw that this line was only 31, and Arkansas State, they kind of look good against Ohio State. I was like, wow.
And they covered.
Toledo, yeah, Ohio State covered. Toledo,
no, Arkansas covered against Ohio State.
Yeah, Arkansas State has covered. Ohio State was 0-2 ATS coming into this game. They blew the fucking brakes off Toledo. But they also
but that first half was close.
Yeah, they didn't stop, dude. That's the thing is
they wanted some style points. They wanted to pour it on. They haven't really had a test outside of Notre Dame, and Notre Dame didn't really test them. Well, Notre Dame did test them. I'll give them that because
you look at Notre Dame now. That loss doesn't.
That Notre Dame win now looks like don't look good at all. So now they gotta have a bunch of style points, just like Michigan. They had the worst non-conference in the FBS.
Yep.
They outscored their opponents 170 something to 17. Now they're getting their first real FBS test with Maryland, which a team that could score just as much as you.
My Maryland Terrapins.
So we'll see how that works out for. Do we have a bet on this Michigan game too?
Nah, we haven't even talked about it. We're going to talk about it on Wednesday, though, so we can make a bet on Wednesday. However, the line came out a lot less than I thought it was going to.
Yeah, it's only 17.
I thought it was going to be like 20, 21 and a half, 22.
I thought it was going to be like at least 24, 21.
I was quite shocked when I seen the spread, but, the market's just as high on Maryland as your boy, so tells you a little something, dude.
We'll see how this works out.
We'll see, but what's your thoughts on Ohio State, dude? Like, because Toledo, honestly, in my opinion, they truly are probably the best team in the MAC.
Yeah, they can. Well, Ohio State, they're star-studded. They can score with anybody. It just depends on their defense, bro. Their defense still hasn't impressed me at all. They let Notre Dame move the ball. Arkansas State moved the ball, and Toledo scored 21 points in the first half, or was it 14 or 21
in 3 quarters? Yeah, there was 14 in the first half. It was 14-42.
Okay, so yeah, I don't know, man. It's just I gotta see them play against better competition too. Notre Dame challenged them. We knew Notre Dame had a legit defense. We were just concerned about the secondary, but even that win doesn't look that good because Notre Dame lost to Marshall. So let's just see. I'm gonna hold off judgment on them too. They scored 77 points, but it's against Toledo, so it's expected. Now, Bryce Young did look a lot better. He did make more throws, but you gotta think throwing to those type of receivers. If you put it anywhere near them, 9 times out of 10, they're gonna come down with the ball or make a play. So, not trying to take anything away from CJ Stroud, but like you said, it could be the Tua effect. He could look a lot better than what he really is because of the talent that's around him.
And he looked like shit against Notre Dame, dude.
Yeah, he didn't look good at all. So he bouncing back. He's playing like to the level that we thought. He was a Heisman favorite coming into the season. So you can't knock too much of what you saw, but I'm not super duper impressed because that's what he's supposed to do. Now that they get into their conference schedule, they're gonna start playing tougher teams week to week. It's not gonna be any more cake. Well, it will be some cakewalks in the Big Ten, but it won't be a lot. So let's
Yeah.
see how you do now.
Yeah, I think it's I do think as a whole college football, I think that it's more open than we anticipated. I don't think Ohio State is that much better than everybody else. I think Georgia's honestly the team to beat at this point.
Yeah, it's Georgia.
So I mean, there's a lot that we're gonna see here, and we're gonna see a lot about Michigan this weekend. They're getting their first true test, dude. They're not playing a top 5 dog shit FBS team, dude. They played 2 of the worst teams in all of FBS.
Hawaii and
Colorado State. And Colorado State was a team I was higher on, but I mean, like, dude, they've been getting dog walked by everybody. It don't matter who they play, dude.
Yeah,
like they've lost by a big margin. They got walked on by Washington State. You know what I mean? So
and Washington State almost lost to Portland State, but that's neither here nor there.
No, that's San Jose State.
No, Washington State played Portland State and almost lost.
Not this year.
Yeah, it was this year.
No, that was San Jose State.
No, let me see who they played because they needed an interception to win the game.
No, that was San Jose State.
It was?
Yeah. I promise you, dog. That shit was San Jose State. My San Jose State Spartans who are playing Wyoming this week, and they're 6.5 point favorites. Wyoming coming
my
off.
bad. It was Idaho.
Yeah, they didn't look good the first week, but then they went into Madison, beat Wisconsin outright.
Yeah, they didn't play San Jose State. It was Idaho.
No, I'm not saying they played San Jose State. I'm saying San Jose State played Portland State. They're the team that needed.
Okay, my bad.
But let's talk about this next game. Washington Huskies at home, Michigan State. We talked about this game on Wednesday. This was one of the games we previewed, and both of us liked Washington here. And Washington covered, although it got really close at the end, dude. I was getting a little worried. I'm not gonna lie. But they end up winning 39-28. They cover. They get outscored 20-10 in the second half. Really, from the second quarter on, it was 28-30. So Washington only won. They won 9-0 in the first quarter, but the next 3 quarters they only won 30-28.
Yeah.
What was your thoughts on this game here? Like,
I'm impressed with Washington. They took care of business at home. Penix looked good. He looked good. Defense looked it all right. They didn't look that good in the second half though. We knew Michigan State was overrated. They lost a lot. They tried to reload. I don't know why they was ranked that high in the first place, but they are coming off an 11-win season, so I guess you gotta give them some credit for that. But yeah, it's not looking good for Michigan State going forward because they do have a pretty daunting schedule, and we're going to see what's the coach name? I can't think of his name. We're going to see
Mel Tucker.
We're going to see what Mel Tucker's made of going forward. But yeah, this game it got close at the end, a little too close for comfort, I guess. Michigan State made some adjustments. They weren't just going to get laid down and get blowed out. Mel Tucker team is going to show up to play, but that's pretty much it. They don't look like they're gonna win the Big Ten anytime soon.
No, the crazy thing to me is that they rushed the ball 29 times for 42 yards.
Yeah, that's not gonna beat anybody in the Big Ten.
But then they threw the ball 30 for 42, 323 yards. So I mean, like, they were able to move the ball through the air pretty freely.
Yeah, because they was behind, so they had to move the ball through the air. So it's not like.
But I mean, that game got close, dude. When you know the team's going to pass, that should be easier for you to.
No, not really, because they still got to run routes. Your DB still got to lock shit down, and your pass rush has to be on point. Now, one thing Washington do need to improve is their pass rush, because that second half, their pass rush didn't really do much at all. So,
prevent defense only prevents you from winning.
Yeah, so you never could just go conservative. Going conservative loses you football games. We've seen it too many times.
Yep. That was a game that Washington at home. I thought they were getting a little underrated, to be honest.
Yeah, they look good. They look like they definitely. Now, if this was the old Pac-12 North champion, South champion, Washington would look like, okay, they might be the team to beat in the North because we've seen too many inconsistency from Oregon. Washington State looks good too. I'm not going to take nothing away from them, but we got to see if they can compete and beat the other teams in the North. Now, Oregon State, they are undefeated, but we both know they should have 2 losses by now. So we'll see how that works out. The North looks better than what we thought it would be for sure.
2 losses.
Yeah, because if Bachmeyer could throw the damn ball,
Oh, dude.
Boise State would have beat Oregon State.
I mean, Boise State didn't look good against New Mexico. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
but I'm
So,
just saying that game was totally different. The reason why Boise State lost to Oregon State because all those damn turnovers.
yeah, and it took a last-second touchdown for them to beat Fresno.
State. And we seen what Fresno State just did against USC. So
Well, I mean, their Hainer got hurt, but I mean, like USC is a much better team than
yeah.
Oregon
Even if
State.
Hainer got hurt, I'd probably say they scored right about what I thought they was going to score between 17 and 24 points. So
Yeah, I agree with that. All right, let's talk about this. Let's talk about this last game before we get out of here. Oregon versus BYU. This is another game we previewed on Saturday. Oregon closes -3.5. They cover over 57.5 as well. Oregon puts up 41 points on BYU. They outscore them 41-20. Are you down on BYU? Up on Oregon? What are we feeling here?
I'm more neutral on both teams because, like you said, you had like 4 starters out for BYU. They was on the road. Oregon is a tough place to play. They stepped up. Oregon had a good game plan. They pounded the ball, ran everything off play action. Bo Nix used his legs when he was supposed to. So, it's a good win for them. It makes their fans think that they actually have a chance at competing for the Pac-12. So, good for them. So we'll see how it goes and how they continue to progress throughout the season. But that that Baylor game did take a lot out of BYU. I didn't take that into account like you did because that's what Sataki preaches: physical play all game, all year, 365. But losing your 2 best pass rushers did have a big impact on BYU. But they couldn't stop they couldn't stop them for shit. Broken tackles. Every time they did corral a running back in the backfield, he broke a tackle and got a gain, and that just kills you defensively because you can't keep giving up those type of chunk plays in the run game, and then you worried about the run, and next play action, ball right over your head, touchdown. So.
Yep.
Oregon played it perfect, but I'm still neutral on them. Still need to see more. I'm not a big fan of nobody on their coaching staff. So at the end of the day, it'll take them to run off the rest of the season without a loss to get me to get for me to get them credit. So good luck, Clucks. Good win.
I mean, I thought their defense was always going to be okay and in top 15 in the country. I always had question marks about their offense. And that's the biggest thing, though, you mentioned was the spot. And I think spots are the most important things in college football because I think what people often forget is that these are still kids. You know what I mean? Like, these are still students, dude, at the end of the day. And it's like you come off a big emotional win against Baylor in national television, prime time, at home.
Rush the field.
Then you have to go on the road to Oregon, who hadn't lost 28 straight home games, dude. I mean, that's a tough place to play, dude. And that's a tough spot.
Are they on the road against Washington State, or Washington State's coming to Oregon?
At Washington State.
Okay, we'll see how that goes.
It's going to be a good game, dude. We're going to talk about it on Wednesday. We will talk about it on Wednesday. But, that spot there for me, I think BYU's a great team, dude. I thought that if they won that game, that they were on pace to be the next non-group of 5 team to make the college football playoff.
Yeah.
But that was a tough spot to be in, dude. That's a tough place to play. Coming off a very tough game,
And you're not 100% healthy at all.
Yeah.
Missing 4 of your best players, so I get it.
I also think that shows that Baylor isn't as good as we thought as well. The fact that, they got dog walked by Oregon, dude.
Mm-hmm.
That game wasn't even close.
Yeah,
so
it was never close.
I think
the
that
closest it was 17-7.
I think that tells us a little bit about Baylor too,
yeah, they should be concerned, especially opening up Big 12 play because we've seen 3-4 teams look better than them.
Yep. So it'll be interesting. We're gonna have some great games to talk about on Wednesday though. We got Kansas State versus Oklahoma. We have USC versus Oregon State. We have Oregon versus Washington State. I mean, dude, there's Tennessee versus Florida. Dude, I cannot wait for Wednesday. Wednesday's gonna be popping. So make sure to join us 9:15 p.m. Pacific Standard Time or 12:15 a.m. Pacific Standard Time if you're on the East Coast. That's going to be a fun show. I don't have any best bets for tomorrow. Do you?
Yeah, Dodgers.
Just keep fading the Diamondbacks right now.
Yeah, fade the hell out of the Diamondbacks. They lost in the sauce.
I like it. I want to thank everybody for joining us. Like I said, Ervin and I will be back on Wednesday. We'll also be back tomorrow night. We'll be breaking down NFL preview, talking NFL games for the week. So definitely tune in for that, 9:15 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Make sure to go to Devour.com or download the Devour app straight to your mobile device. Use promo code Taproom for $10 off your first purchase, $25 or more. For Swerve and Ervin Washington, Jordan, stacks on stacks on stacks, lads. We'll catch y'all later. Have a blessed Tuesday. Follow me on Twitter. I may have an MLB bet, but right now I'm kind of down on MLB. Like I don't even want to bet anything, so we'll figure it out. But y'all have a blessed Tuesday. Appreciate y'all. Check us tomorrow. NFL talk Wednesday. College football talk. Let's go.